This week's edition of Church Media Design TV is sponsored by Dan's Ink and Toner, and a whole lot more. Welcome to another edition of Church Media Design TV, tips, tricks, and how-to for you, the church media designer. Now, this show is here to help you use media in your everyday situation in your church, whether it be making graphics or videos or print or whatever it may be. I'm here to help you guys leverage these tools to increase God's kingdom, because the ultimate goal is to see more people come to know the Savior who has saved us. So I'm your host, Brad Zimmerman, and I'm joined every week by my favorite friends. It's the three wise men and Jesus. We have Dwight Schrute, Colonel Sanders, Little Whitey, and of course Jesus Christ, the Son of the Lord Most High. Now, this week we're going to be jumping in. We're going to be talking about Photoshop brushes and the Photoshop brush engine, and maybe doing some things you've never tried before that are pretty cool. So we're going to jump in and do that, as well as we're going to give you a freebie and a whole lot more. So if the three wise men and Jesus are ready, let's get into it. We're going to go grab some resources from our stockpile and hopefully load you guys up with some great stuff that you can use in your creation. And since we're talking about Photoshop this week, we're going to have a little bit of a photo or Photoshop themed way of going about it. Now, this was a cool article that I found that's an explanation of Photoshop blending modes. I thought this was really cool because a lot of people don't really understand how much blending modes can matter to your imagery. And so this is a great article that just talks through what all the blending modes do and how they work. So go check that one out. Now, the next one is colorsucker.com. Now, what colorsucker.com does, it's similar to the Color Grab website that we featured a few weeks ago, where it shows you the main colors that are inside an image. But the difference is, this one is a lot more full-fledged. Colorsucker actually pulls up the top 36 results for most colorful images on Flickr. You can bring in an image from any URL. As well as they have a Firefox add-on. But the cool thing, let's pull up this image here, and you'll see we got this tree, and here's the majority colors, which I would say are pretty spot on. But the cool thing is we can say, well, I really like this green. Show me a color scheme that uses that color green. And you can actually go in and let's say, wow, this color scheme right here actually matches this sky pretty well. And so you can go in and get some great color schemes. You can click on that color scheme and it's going to bring you over to colorlovers.com, and you'll be able to download this as a color palette for different things. So it's a really powerful site, does a lot of different things, so check out colorsucker.com. And last but not least, we want to give you guys something. So the Shoreways has a cardboard grunge photo pack that you can download, as well as they have a lot of other ones, but you can check this one out. And there's a lot of different great grunge cardboard textures that you guys can use in your design every week. So check out colorsucker.com, the Shoreways, and an explanation of Photoshop blending modes, and get your stockpile on. So in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Photoshop brushes and Photoshop brush engine, like I talked about before. And this came about because I've been doing a Photoshop class with two incoming freshmen that go to our church. And I was sitting down and we were going through, and you can see here, we went to psdtoots.com and we just went through one of their tutorials. I went way back, and this was an advanced glow effects tutorial, and I thought it covered a lot of good basics of how clouds work and stroking some brushes and some different stuff like that. So but in it, it was saying, okay, so randomly just draw some dots and there'll be little glowy star stuff. And I was like, well, let me show you another way of doing this using the brush engine. So I'm going to show you some different tips on how the Photoshop brush engine works. So I'm inside Photoshop right now. I got a new document. It's just 640 by 360 widescreen. I'm just going to make this background black using our fill tool. Just going to fill that with black, and then I'm going to grab our Photoshop brush, and we're just going to grab a small 3-pixel brush. And if I would start, oops, we need to make that white. I'm going to hit the X key, and that gives me, flips my colors. But as you can see, I can start drawing. If I would do this a lot, you would start to think that it looks like a star field. I can use my bracket up and down to make them smaller and bigger, and so we can get some variation from it. But the one thing I was saying when we were doing this little class is I said, you know what, I suck at being random. I like things too mathematical. I'm not good at making things random. So I want to let Photoshop do that for me. So I'm just going to select all of this stuff and grab my paintbrush tool, make it really huge, flip my colors, and make it black. Okay, so now we got that taken care of. Now what we need to do is we need to go into our brush engine and make our brush engine do some work for us. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this 3 pixel brush, and then I'm going to go over here to my brushes. And you'll see that this is my brush engine, and this is all of the different stuff. So first off, you have your brush tip shape, and you can change the size of it. And you can change the spacing and the hardness. Now we're going to take our hardness down so we have a nice feathered brush, and then we're going to take this back down to about 3 or 4 pixels. We'll do like 4 pixels. Change the color of that to white, and then we're going to start playing with some other things. So we have shape dynamics, and we can do size jitter, and what you can see here is we start getting a speckled line. So if I would draw across my screen, you can see it's not going to be perfect. It's going to have more of it's got size variation to it. So I'm just going to step back in my history. We can also do an angle jitter, but since we're doing a round brush, there's not really a angle to do that. But let's take that up to 100%, and then let's change our roundness jitter a bit. And now you can see that our brush isn't perfectly round. It's got a little bit more variation to it, which is cool. We can also set what our minimum roundness is. We could take that all the way down to 0 or to 1%, and then we have no minimum roundness, so it could get pretty flat. Let's actually leave that at about 25 where it was at. Now scattering, this is where it gets kind of cool. Now we can actually change our scattering, and we can have our, when we're drawing, it's now a wider brush. So that's starting to get us where we want to be. And then we can change the count, so we can make this a lot thicker. So we can make this like a really, really, really thick brush. And we can change our count jitter, so we can maybe say, let's do our count a little bit less, but we can have it vary that count along the way. So we'll just flip that up. And then we're going to go back to our brush tip shape, and we're going to take our spacing down or up quite a bit. And what this is going to do is now when I draw, I'm just going to get some random things drawn out wherever, and I can just kind of draw around the screen and fill in some spaces when I want to, and I can get myself a nice little starry night scene here without ever having to lay down individual brush pixels. I also could take my diameter way up, so let's go to like 13, and if I started doing this, you'll see how it's pretty random and the size is pretty big. I could take my spacing back down a little bit, and you can see in here how some of these are a little angly, and maybe we don't like that when it's this big, but you can see how pretty quickly you're getting a cool effect that you're getting some randomness with your brush. Now let's take this same idea and talk about grunge. A lot of times I like to do layered watercolor brushes to paint on text or a background, or I like to use grunge brushes to muck up my text a little bit, and so we're going to do that real quick. So what we're going to do real quickly is we're just going to make a new layer here. We're going to make it like a brownish, a dark brown color. Whoops. And then let's make this lighter brownish color. Actually cancel. We'll just make that one, fill that, then we're going to make a new layer. We're going to do filter, render, let's hit this to black and white, sorry, filter, and then we're going to go to render clouds. So we got some clouds rendered. I'm going to just take this and like flip through my blending modes until I find a blending mode that I like. And overlay looks pretty good. We'll take our transparency down a little bit just to give ourselves a little bit of variation in our background. So we got a little variation going on. So now let's add some text. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to grab, you know, Arial Black, or let's try Bookman old style, and we'll change this to bold, and we'll just type in, let's say, CMD TV. And we're just going to scale this up. So we have some nice big, let's say this is our series, and we're doing a series about CMD TV. We can go and do a effects overlay of a color overlay. This is my favorite way to do coloring because I can see it change live. So we can go in here and find a nice creamy font color that looks nice. Hit OK with that. So now let's make this a little bit more distorted. So the first thing we're going to do is learn how to add brushes. So we're going to go to our brushes, select this, and there's actually a pull down here, and you can see we have a lot of stock brushes in here. We can actually go to load brushes. So I'm going to go to, I actually have a library drive that I have a folder called brushes on, and this is where all of my brushes reside. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pull in, these are Bitbox brushes, and I'm going to pull in my watercolor 1, and then we'll load that guy in. And I'm probably going to pull in watercolor 2 as well because I couldn't remember which one I wanted. Load that one in as well. So these are really high res, nice looking brushes. Maybe we'll load in, I'm trying to find which one I'm looking for here. Sorry about this. Let's do high res spatter. Here we go. Well, we'll just use one of these guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these brushes that we like. Let's say we need to see these a little better. We can go to a large thumbnail. We can make this box a little bit bigger so that we can see in here. And so now we can actually see what these brushes look like a little bit better. I'm going to choose this brush here. I kind of like this one. And then I am going to set a layer mask. Now all a layer mask does is it masks out just that layer, nothing else, and uses black and white values. I'm going to scale down my brush by hitting my left bracket, and you can see my brush scale down there on the screen. Now if we would start drawing on here, you could see I can, you know, very quickly grunge up my text here, and doesn't look that great. I'm not going for a great final look, by the way, but I want to show you a little better way of making that more dynamic, because as you can see, what if you started going along and you started doing this at the bottom of all of these? You would start to notice a pattern in our grunge. You would start to notice that they all look exactly the same. And, well, we don't want it to look exactly the same. So maybe you need to rotate your brush. So this is an easy thing for the brush engine to do. So we're just going to go in here. We're going to go to our brush shape, and we're just going to rotate our brush. So we can hold our shift key and it will lock to different angles. So now our brush has a little bit different of an angle to it, and we can go in and angle it again and angle it again, and we start to get a little cooler looking effect here. Now we're going to undo all of that, and we're actually going to have the brush engine do this for us. So we can go into our shape dynamics, and instead of doing a size, we'll do a little bit of a size jitter. But we want to make sure to do this angle jitter, because that's what's going to do our angle, and then we're not going to mess with our roundness jitter at all. We don't want to worry about that much. And our scattering is okay. We can go back into our spacing here, and we can maybe space this out a little bit, but we're only going to be doing one click at a time, so we should be okay to do these like at 1% would be fine. So now when we go in here, even though you're seeing the brush right there, I can click a whole bunch of times, and sometimes I won't see anything, but sometimes I'll see a lot. And it's going through and just randomly turning this. We can maybe size this down a whole bunch. And now we can kind of go in here, and you'll see how it's just kind of randomly changing and randomly doing this. Now you can see the big problem with this. I'm not able to see the angle, so I can't, especially with a brush that has such a unique shape, I can't say, well, I want this shape, then this shape. It's not showing me a preview of how this changes, which is kind of annoying, but you can at least still get kind of the picture here. So that's the Photoshop brush engine. Those are a couple unique ways that I use it in my day-to-day work. Yet again, I wasn't trying to make something that looked amazing here. I was just showing you how that works. So go mess around with that. There's a lot of other things that you can do with it, and we'll be covering more Photoshop in the future. So if you have questions about Photoshop or Illustrator or any just straight up image creation programs, let me know. Brad at ChurchMediaDesign.tv, because we would love to cover that. So next, we got some freebies and inspiration for you. Well, this week's inspiration comes from North Point Media Blog, and they had a really cool article that I think you guys really need to check out. We'll show the video at the end that was the result of this, but what they did is they showed a video they created, but they showed the concept to completion of how it was made and what they went through to make this video, and what they used as inspirational artwork, how they storyboarded the video out, how they did test shots with it, what they used to actually shoot it with in green screen, and then the post-production, they talked about that, and what it took to actually pull this off. So this video that you're watching took 52 hours to make. And so I don't know if that's combined hours or whatnot, but that's how long it took to create this video. So don't think that they're creating stuff in short amounts of time. This was a very full work week of making this video, or multiple weeks. But I really want to encourage you guys. I'll have the link on the website for this, and we'll put a shortened URL down here that you guys can check out as well. Go check out and read through this article, and then watch the video and see what it took just to make this video. It looks kind of simple at some points, but it took a lot of work. So check out this Kid Stuff promo.
Hi, I'm a dad, and this is my son. We go to Kid Stuff Live, and we don't miss a show. It happens the first Sunday of every month, and it's pretty unbelievable. It's a place where we get to go as a family and see what they're going to be learning in Upstreet all month long. But that's just the beginning. Do you know what the big idea is? Well, that's another reason you should go, because if you've got kids in Upstreet, I bet they know. And while we're there, they give us this amazing takeout to take home, which is just a cool way of learning and putting into practice one of God's big ideas, like patience, forgiveness, or love. Oh yeah, how could I forget that? Do you want to know how Kid Stuff can partner with you best? Check out Kid Stuff online. This thing is unbelievable. It doesn't just show what happened this month in Kid Stuff. Oh no, it's a completely interactive site that changes weekly with new info, videos, and games all about this month's big idea. Like I said, we don't miss a Kid Stuff Live, and this new Kid Stuff Online has really changed how I can parent. Check them out, both of them.
This week we have another bokeh lens blurry video that you guys can check out. I don't exactly know how to say it, so you can see it behind me. You can download this on the website in widescreen and in full screen, HD, and church definition 800 by 600. So I really want to encourage you guys to check this out, download it. Let me know if you like this kind of freebie, because I'm wanting to make a lot more of them, because I like them. So we're going to be using these at our church in the fall. So make sure you head over to the website, download them today. You can get them in MPEG-4 as well as WMV. Add it to your arsenal and start using them on Sunday morning and get yourself a freebie. Well, we wanted to say thank you to our sponsor of DansInkandToner.com. Now, we've been talking about Dan's Ink and Toner for a while now, and I really want to encourage you guys to save some money, people. You know you don't have very much at your church, and you know that all of us are running thin and we're having to go to extreme measures a lot of times. So why are you guys wasting your money going to Staples and other big box stores to buy your ink, because it's way overpriced? So give Dan a call. You can get your ink and toner from him at wholesale prices. You're going to save a lot of money, as well as maybe your printer's about to die on you and you don't know if you can afford it. You can do a leasing program. You can do a full service program. He's got a lot of different stuff. You can call him at this number and find out more about the program, or email him. And you also can go to his website and click on the wholesale programs sign up and click to sign up there, and he'll give you quotes on what it's going to cost and what it'll take and coverage and the whole 9 yards. So make sure to go check out danzinkandtoner.com and help us out by checking him out and helping yourself out. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Church Media Design TV. So glad you guys can be a part of this, and I just again want to say thank you for what you're doing in your church. You guys are underappreciated more often than not, and I want to say that I personally appreciate what you're doing to expand God's kingdom through the use of media. Whether you're a sound or lighting guy, or you're a graphics guy, or you're a secretary or a volunteer, I really, really want to thank you guys for what you're doing. So keep it up. Don't be discouraged. Send me an email if you guys want to let me know some of the cool stuff you're doing. I got a message the other day on Twitter from somebody who was making some click track videos from the series we just did. And it's so cool to see you guys putting some of this stuff into action and really enjoying it. So just keep it up. You guys are doing great. If you guys have any questions or comments, you can send me a message on Twitter. I'm CMD TV, or email me Brad at ChurchMediaDesign.tv. You can hit Adam up on Twitter. It's just Adam CMD TV, or Adam at ChurchMediaDesign.tv. If you got questions about cameras and that kind of stuff, Adam would be your man. Also, you can sign up for the newsletter. It's just ChurchMediaDesign.tv/subscribe. And we have t-shirts. And I would want to encourage you guys to check out our t-shirts. Let me go find it. It's right here. I have it. So you can get this nice, it's a little wrinkly right now, but this nice t-shirt, you can get it for 15 bucks. Check it out. Your shipping is free. You can get it at store.churchmediadesign.tv. And yeah, go check that out and help us out by getting a t-shirt. Wear it proudly. Be a church media designer, because we know you are. So thanks for tuning in. And as for me and the three wise men and Jesus, we're saying, see you later.